cute skirt. Doesn't fit. But I have an idea. A new fashion evolution coming up. Hi, Chanel here with another edition for your So Chanel playlist, bringing you tips, tools, and techniques to help you with your fashion inspirations. So if you're new here, join us and we'll bring you weekly doses of fashion inspiration. I found this a couple years ago at a consignment shop. I must have paid about 10, 12 bucks on it. And I love this print on here. It's like a little city with houses on it. And it reminded me of a jacket I had years ago. It's called The City of Babylon. It's a cute little jacket I couldn't get rid of for the longest time, but yet I didn't wear it. So I don't know what happened to that jacket, but I hope somebody's enjoying it. I like to wear it, and I thought we'll just update this a little bit, make it a little more fun. And I had the idea how I got my idea was from this skirt that was also in my closet. It's just like a stretchy knit top part with like a fake leather flounce on the bottom, and this is a fun, comfortable skirt to wear just with boots, and I love wearing this. So what I thought about doing was making this a black yoke up here, the little white inset here, and then using the bottom of this as the flounce part. And this has a cute little black netting on it, just some little touch which I thought was interesting, but not necessary for anything. It just kind of hides the hem, which is a good idea. But I have some fabric I actually in my stash, and I had bought this fabric in Los Angeles a few months ago, and I bought it. I think it was $3 a yard, and it's a stretch like leather, like a polyurethane. It has a terrible smell, but ooh, can you smell that? But why I bought it was the back side of it. It looks like it's navy suede, and I got to use it for something. I don't know what, but I just loved it. I wish I would have bought more. But I'm only going to need a little piece of this, so looks like I only have about a yard. So I'm going to use that on the top part here, like that. And then I found this white piqué that I have in my stash too. This was just like a scrap of fabric here I used for something, and it's like a stretchy, and it's a piqué on it, and I don't need the stretch to use it, but it's okay. I'm going to put the little strip of white through here, and then use the flounce on the bottom, so it'll be like three tones. And here's a sketch that I kind of just sketched out real quick. So that is going to be my new skirt. I hope it works out, because I really don't want to cut this skirt up because I do like it, but either way I think it'll work out. So I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna measure off how much I want here and then cut it off. The first thing I need to tackle is getting my panel piece off of here, and how I'm gonna do that is just fold the skirt in half, pin it together, because I'm gonna cut it. It'll be just half of the skirt, which will then be the whole skirt, and pin it in many places to keep it really straight. And then I marked it. I started with 12 from the bottom of the hem, but it gets kind of into this other little part of this pleat, so I'm just took it down another half. So I'm going to do 11 and a half from the base of this, from the hem, basically 11 and a half, and I'm going to cut it at my mark, and here goes my skirt. That's always the hardest part. Once you're in it, then you're okay. And I smoothed this all out to make sure nothing was underneath it, and to get a good even cut. And voila, it's separated. I'm also going to need this part here to use as my pattern for the white, to see how wide this is. Actually, I can even just use this part here, but it's pretty, looks so much wider. But there is my piece. Actually, I'm going to keep those pins on because I'm going to use that to cut my white out. I have my skirt laid out on my white. I folded this in half, so I'll make this like my center front. And I have it, the other part, folded in half. Make this my center back. I put little V's in here so that I can find them. This skirt's not lining up on the seams, so it's a little off. There's no zipper or anything in here, so it's going to be, it'll work out fine. But I'm going to trace this part of the skirt because this is where it'll get connected to here. And I'm thinking this band I wanted about 1.5 inches wide max. I think 2 inches is too wide, so 1.5 inches. So I'll do a 1/2 inch seam allowance on both parts. Actually, I think the leather, I might, because it's thicker, I'm just going to have it lay over, and then instead of putting a seam in there and then putting this binding on here. This was just that scrap of netting I had. It's a soft, stretchy one. The only difference versus the one this skirt has is it has little sequins on it, which just adds a little touch to it. So I'm going to add to here. I'm going to call this my center front. These are the pens that iron off, so that's good. And then I'll have to make this 2.5 inches because I want my band to be 1.5 inches. I'll make this 2.5 inches. Add a 1/2 inch seam allowance to here. So that's my band for the front. Now I'm going to flip this over and get the band for the back. It's probably the same. No, it's actually a little different. This one's a little longer. So I definitely now have to make sure I do them the right way. And I'll trace this part here, up there, and then I'll do this 2.5 inches. That. Add a 1/2 inch seam allowance and call this my center back. So I'll sew them at the seam allowances right here. We'll cut these out, and then I will do the black part. Now I need to cut out the top of the skirt, and I used my one skirt as a pattern. It's just basically a band. It has a little bit of a shape to it, and they're kind of both the same stretch, which is really great. There's a center back seam in this, but I want to make this with no seam at all, especially since it's pleather. And basically I found the center of this, traced that there, and traced this over here, and then added a seam allowance to the side and added seam allowance to the bottom and to the top, although I think I'm just going to do that elastic band that rolls over, but just in case. And then I have the half of that, and I also have this on the double, cutting that on a double there, or 2 at a time. Then I'll fold this over here so I get an exact shape, and also obviously had this all nice and laid out. And then I will cut the rest of my skirt. When you're just working on half a skirt, you want it to be even. And this is just a stretch, so it's going to be pretty simple. Cut this out. And there is my front and back. There's no zipper or anything, so it should be pretty easy. There we go. So now I will sew this, the side seams here. Do like I think I'll do a 1/2 inch both on both sides, side seams, and then my white little panel here. I'll sew these on the side seams here, and I'll have my black and white piece, and then attach that. Okay, got the side seams sewn on the white and on the black. Pressed open the seams. That always helps it lay smooth. Now I have to add the print to the white. I'm going to do that first. And I marked where the side seams are. I put pins where they were, and I put a little S on there because there's all these panels. Put little S's. There's all these panels, so you don't really know where the side seam is. And I think it matters because of the way this lays here. So I'll put the side seams there, and then I had marked the back and the front on these. And so this was the back, that was the front, and then I'll sew this in a 1/2 inch seam allowance on the bottom part of this, and it fits pretty good there. Just go around that, sew that around, and then I can attach the top part. Well, I got the white yoke on. It's looking really cute. I love the white contrast. I did a 1/2 inch seam allowance here, and then I pressed that seam down so that it would be smoother in there. And now all I got to do is add the black yoke part. This is looking pretty wide, so hopefully it has a little bit of flounce and drape to it. And this one's going pretty fast. All right, I have my white band on. I have my yoke, my black yokes of the skirt ready to go. Side seams in there. Pretty simple. I'm just going to attach these here. I could do just the usual sew a 1/2 inch, roll it out, but then it's kind of bulky right here. This fabric's a little on the bulky side, and it doesn't press really well and stays that way. So I think the best way to do it is to just overlap this onto the white and then use the same trim as they did on the hem here, and just add this to the edge here, and then all of this skirt really looks like it was all meant to go with that. So and I like it. Looks pretty good. So I'm just gonna baste this here and then stitch that. If I try to do it all in one, it'll probably get all crooked. So that's my next step. Well, I got my skirt all into one piece now. I added the netting trim. I think that really added to it. Really makes this flow into one skirt and puts that other netting part in here. And I think I'm also going to add another piece of netting to the bottom of this. I like the little rhinestones here. I think it'll add a touch to it, so I'm going to do that also. But now I'm going to put the elastic up on the top, and I'm going to use my favorite elastic, the 1 inch fold over elastic. It's really soft, and you just simply roll it over the top. And it's just so easy to put on. But what I do is put it around my waist, stretch it to where it's comfortable, and then I folded it in half to find the half part, and then I'll put the half on one side seam, like so, and then I'll roll this one over to the next side seam and then stretch it as I'm sewing it so I get them balanced. I'm going to go do that. Cute! This turned out really cute. What a skirt with personality. It had a lot of personality before, now it really does. So really love the way this turned out. This is going to be fun to wear. I think I'll be wearing this weekend. I added more trim, the netting trim to the bottom part of this because I really like the sequins in there. Not that you can see them very much, but they're there. And then I had a little extra piece, so I just tied a bow and tied that around. But this is going to fit me now. It's too big for my dress form, but this is going to be really fun to wear. I'll just wear it with probably a little black and white tank top, and it'll be really cute. It's fun to wear. So one little tip is to use one of these Teflon feet on your sewing machine, because it helps if you're using any kind of sticky fabric at all. If you find this pleather or raincoat fabric, any kind of like plastic kind of thing, this really helps the machine just slide on it. It's strange how just a change in materials can really work. I was trying to use my regular foot and it was pulling, and then I remembered that I had this foot, and wow, made a huge difference. But let us know in the comments below what you would have done with this skirt. Would love to hear. And also look in your closet, see if there's anything, printed skirt that could use an upcycle and add some different color contrast to it and make it a whole new skirt. And if you do anything with it, share it with us. Love to see it. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video.